Okay, let me bring in Mr. Additional Squad because he's been speaking about the appointment of the DG of NIA and some of the information out there, of which we also heard the senator. That's what he has said. Gimba, you might be closer to the screen there.
Okay, that's the quote. President Muhammadu Buhari appointed the new DG because he had worked closely with him in the past 2 years and sincerely believes that he would add value to the NIA.
So that's part of the comment.
Yes, okay.
He said there's a lot of misinformation out there.
There's no misinformation.
He said the man never failed.
Okay.
So that's the thing. Is the kind of.
I'm not the one who misinformed Nigerians. Nigerians have an opinion that they are working with. What we're saying is this. Okay, it's okay for career officers in the SSS not to be able to aspire to be head of SSS. It's okay for the career officers in NIA not to aspire to the headship. It's okay for the career officer in DSS not to. What are we doing with ourselves?
Just hold on. Mr. Fasakin,
yeah.
When we have this situation, for instance, when the former SGF was sacked, Babachir Lal, and then we had a replacement for him, was from the same region. Wouldn't it speak better of the government if we had that kind of scenario with the NIA DG?
Thank you very much. You will understand clearly that at the time that the man, Babachir Lal, was sacked.
They were sacked at the same time?
Yes, at the time he was sacked. He was, yes, sacked the same, but different circumstances, and they are, you know, that there are different roles. Do you understand me? Whilst that of SGF, chief of staff and all those things, those are political roles. We are talking about strictly security role. You are talking about the man that will be in charge of the agency that will gather intelligence outside Nigeria for the purpose of ensuring the security and well-being of Nigerian citizens. It's not something, and I've often, and I want you to understand my consistency here. It's not something that you subject to the rationalization of, you know, that is it coming from this region and that. I don't. You see, my brother here may get into this realm of undue sentimentality and talk to impress, you know, in sheer populism. Okay. In sheer populism, but it's not where we should be coming to now.
Let me ask you this, because you just had we'll ask you. When Mr. Additional Scott came up and he said that there's a lot of misinformation out there, you agreed with him on that, don't you?
There are tissues of lies.
Okay,
now this man.
We saw
the DG NIA.
Senator Michal,
yes,
while he was speaking. Is he a member of PDP?
It doesn't matter. Look, see, let me tell you something.
It doesn't matter?
It doesn't matter.
But he's of the same party with you.
Look,
he's the one who raised the issue on the floor that the man failed twice. He wasn't qualified.
See, let me tell you, the fact is, I tell you, there is no individual, no man, you know, no human being that can operate beyond the quantum of information available to him. Do you agree with that maxim? With that dictum? Do you agree with it? That no human being can operate beyond the quantum of information available to him?
Let's get Mr. Sowunmi's response on that.
Look, even that maxim he wants to quote can be absolutely and totally correct. We have found out over the history of mankind that the most inspiration comes not from quantum of information available, but from endowment from above. So what's he saying? The Quran, the Bible, and all of those documents, they didn't come from quantum of information. Please, I still want to answer a question to him. There is what is populist about what I am saying. I remember a time when we were in the hot seat, and it was he will sit where I'm sitting and I will sit where he's sitting. The language, the choice of word, the argument style was different. We're being guarded, but we're not going to be cowed, or we're not going to make quiet when we see things that Nigerians are complaining about. We're not inventing these things. The reason why they are struggling to explain this, which is absolutely unexplainable, untenable, unacceptable, is because they took their eyes off the ball and they didn't realize when it became a big problem for them. They started with one appointment, then another appointment, then another appointment, then another appointment, and suddenly now we roll out the list of all these appointments, and all of us are saying, hey, what's going on here?
Okay,
I didn't do that for them. It's a self-inflicted injury.
All right, let's get Mark West. Mark West has a Question, I believe, Markwe?
Well, Mr. Fasakin, it's a very difficult one you're trying to defend this morning, considering the fact that even the federal government's response did not try to tackle that particular charge. Nevertheless, one of the charges against both parties represented on the program this morning is that it would seem that Nigerians have lost faith in both the APC and the PDP, and the former president was asking for a coalition for Nigeria. He believes that there needs to be a new movement of people who are truly concerned about the country. Mr. Sowunmi, I first of all like you to respond to that charge, saying that the PDP is no better. I mean, the president was very clear, the former president, on why he tore his registration of the PDP, his membership card of the PDP. How do you feel now that he's calling for a coalition for Nigeria?
You see, the former president, the President Olusegun Obasanjo, has a penchant to speak in a manner that appears as if he's being too sanctimonious, and unfortunately, on that particular order, he's also not correct. Now, with the greatest respect to all Nigerians,